Good evening, and welcome to another episode of The Whitest Mexican You Know. Of course, I'm your host, Antonio. Every week I try to have some of the best local Las Vegas comedians on. This week is no different. Please help me welcome my man, Justin Tietjen. What's
Dude,
up, man?
this isn't Charlie Rose. You don't have to be like, good evening. Like, you're not on
Good
the
evening.
news.
I like doing that. With the voice, I feel like it sounds good. Just going, good evening.
Dude,
Talking
yeah,
shit right off the bat.
you live in the ghetto.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Trust me.
I mean, I do too. Don't get me wrong. But your neighbor has an electric wheelchair just like chilling in his yard.
That motherfucker, it's something new every fucking day. It's like he used to have this giant like fridge that I guess
Yeah.
he was working on. The whole back was exposed and he's working on it. And it would rain and it would still be out there. I'm like, okay, you really think it's working after that, you son of a bitch?
Well, I mean, drug dealers really teach themselves some unique skills.
Yeah.
Or drug addicts or whatever.
And I've seen like Child Protective Services at that house. I've
Shit.
seen fucking ambulance and police at that fucking apartment. It's ridiculous.
He was probably hiding kids in that fridge he was keeping.
I thought, because I used to live a little bit west of here.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a decent area because it was near Summerlin. It was a good apartment complex. But while I was there, 3 people got shot.
Wait, it's near isn't Summerlin way like over there? You have to take the highway to get to Summerlin, right?
Well, doesn't Summerlin start like like near what is it? Durango area?
Oh, I don't
off
know.
To the west.
But even still, Durango's I think a ways like still like 7 streets away.
Yeah, and I used to kind of live down there. I thought it was a decent area.
Yeah, that's not close though. 7 streets isn't close.
I thought it was close enough.
And then second off, I took a left instead of a right, so I went to building 33. So I parked, and I was like, oh, I'll probably find it near here. Not even close.
Yeah.
Like I had to go back, and 30 isn't close to 33.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
It was weird.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
that's why it took me a long time.
If you're done ragging about where I live now.
Well,
what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing good.
That's awesome. So I wanted to start off. How long have you actually been doing comedy?
Like 8 years.
And how old are you?
33.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. It's like 8 years.
I started in Phoenix. That's basically where I've done it. Then during the pandemic, I went down to Tucson, and did nothing. And then I started doing some comedy after, I don't know, 7 months, 8 months. And then I got a job here. And then I actually got the job before I had a place to stay.
Oh,
so I stayed with my friend Big J for a while. And then I actually moved in the complex that he lives in.
Okay.
So it all worked out.
And how long did you actually do comedy in Phoenix?
In Phoenix was 6.5, 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you...
That's where I started.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how different is the comedy scene out there versus Vegas?
I mean, I think there's less drama up here, but there's drama everywhere. So I just don't know.
Because that was one of the surprising things about getting into comedy is seeing all the drama.
Yeah,
here.
It's like high school.
Yeah, I'm like, who gives
especially with podcasts. Like, there's some people in Phoenix that I guess there was an all-female lineup. And so they went on a podcast, these guys, and was like, so some of these comics aren't fuckable or something. Like, they started talking about numbers and who would you bang and stuff like that. Gotcha. And it caused all sorts of drama. Yeah. I think there's one where some people or someone made a list of all where you ranked in the comedy scene in Phoenix.
Okay.
And so I didn't look at mine. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care.
Yeah. It just seems bizarre to me. It's like, aren't we all just trying to do the same fucking thing?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
Yeah. To me, it's very supportive here.
Yeah. Okay.
Very supportive.
Yeah. I still see those things though. It's like, this person has drama with this person, but the couple people who are friends with both of them.
Yeah.
One of them decides oh, now you have to pick a side.
Yeah.
Like, what? Who gives a shit? I don't care if you
It's
have a problem with this person. You
it's
know,
so yeah, it's so stupid.
that's funny. And so, like, numbers wise, with the open mics
Yeah.
out here compared to out there, what does it
I would
look
say it's
like?
about the same. The biggest thing though is we have featured spots weekly. Down in Phoenix, there's like almost zero featured spots.
Mm,
That I did. I didn't really do any features. There may have been some feature spots at some people that like ran open mics at the clubs, but and I never did those. But
gotcha.
like Noreen's has a featured spot. Basically all the open mics have a feature spot,
Yeah.
and that's hardly unheard of in Phoenix.
So, do you think you've gotten farther with comedy being out here than you ever did out there?
I don't know about farther. Um, I feel like I'm still in the same place, like in between open mics and getting into the clubs.
Okay.
So, we do have. So, LA Comedy Club is a club I go to, and they're friendly to well, I guess stand up live and stuff. They're friendly too. Like, they'll let comics in for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very hard to get guest sets up there. I mean, it's hard to get guest sets at uh LA Comic Club. I mean, I've only had one, but they
Okay.
also had they had like Stupid Town. Carlos Anthony did his show, so I mean, they gave local comics an opportunity to run shows at their. Well, damn it! Now that I say that, I know this guy named Sydney. He has a show, um, in Phoenix. So I guess it's the same now that I think about it.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, because I've been in stand up like year and a half, 2 years,
Yeah,
and it's all been out here. And I went to Austin in October. And my brother had a wedding, whatever, and so I started to hit a couple mics out there, and it was a lot different than the scene out here. Like
yeah,
Austin is super saturated. Like one mic that I went to had 60 comics on
it's
the list,
crazy.
and it blew my fucking mind. They would start the show at like 10, and it wasn't over till like 2, 3 in the morning because there were so many people, and they just don't give a fuck. Like it was 60 people sitting at the bar in the back of the room and just talking. While I was on stage, I couldn't hear myself even through the fucking speakers.
How long did you get? Was it 5 or
It
was it
was it was
3?
5 minutes.
It was 5.
Yeah, yeah. But it was just weird. Like out here, you get that, where it's a group of comics who sit in the back and they just talk the whole time.
Oh yeah,
But it's not as overwhelming as 60 people sitting
yeah.
in the back and talking. And it was a lot of political humor, which was annoying, honestly.
I don't. I'm not a political person.
Yeah.
But my second joke that I did. So here's I started comedy. If you want, like in Vegas, like so I used to live in. I was a I was a caregiver for someone, and I became so close with them. They were like, "Hey, we got my mom got a job in Vegas, and the mom was like, Nick isn't gonna have any friends in Vegas. He had a cognitive disability.
Mhm.
I ran into him in Challenger Little League, which is a baseball league for people with disabilities, and so I got really close with Nick. And so when his mom got a job here, she was like, "Hey, he's not gonna have any friends in Vegas.
Mhm.
So why don't you come with us? You can live with us and you can help him adjust to Vegas." So I lived here for a year during that. And but when I went back to Tucson, I would do the open mic down there because I didn't have the balls to start comedy here. So I
Gotcha.
would do it down in Tucson because it was familiar. But I don't really consider that because there was like maybe a month or two between each time I went up, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
Um, but then I went back to Phoenix. My cousin wanted to see me do stand up, and
Yeah.
then I did stand up, and the first 2 times were good, and then that was enough for me to catch the bug or whatever,
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
like, oh, I wanna bomb in front
Yeah.
of people for the rest of my life. But anyway, but we were talking about political humor, and That my second joke was how we should all fuck instead of just go to the gym. And I just said something like, "That's why Obama's so calm, because Michelle Obama is like sucking his dick under the podium, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
So how long into it did you actually start going out regularly? Because for me, when I first started, I hit Noreen's once a week, and that was for like the first 3 months. Because I started in January 2020, and
yeah,
we shut down 3 months later.
that was me too. So I did good at that mic in Scottsdale, and I only did that mic for a while. I want to say 6 months, maybe a year.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a long time. But then I slowly would uh, get to other mics and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Because I those first 3 months, and that's why I say, kind of 2 years, kind of, a year, maybe year and a half. Because those first 3 months didn't mean anything really. It was just
Yeah,
me getting my feet wet,
yeah,
and then we were shut down for a fucking year, and then
yeah.
I came back March 2021, and
Okay.
then I went out as many mics as I could every single night. You know.
Yeah, it went from that one and then, two and then three. So it slowly,
Hmm. And what
got,
what were the first couple shows that you did out here?
well, there's, Norrange. So before I moved out here, Ross lived out here. And
Ross Dinsdale.
then, yeah.
Got you.
So he took me to Norrange. So I went to that mic. So I did that. Well, I mean, the first time I just watched, and then so I did that mic, and then it just went from there.
Hmm.
I forget the order,
Yeah. Yeah.
but there's dive bar.
Yeah.
Um, there's taco dive, which was like a quarter mile from my house.
Okay.
So I
I
did
I
that.
did that show one time, and it was the first time that I had ever brought, someone other than my girlfriend to one of my shows,
Yeah,
and it was like a buddy that I moved out to Vegas with,
yeah,
and it was his girlfriend and his mom, and I know his mom very well.
yeah.
They all came out to my show, and I just my whole set was me talking about how if you rape criminals like just on the street that they'll stop doing crime or
Yeah,
whatever. And I just went on 5 minutes of just talking about raping criminals and
yeah,
shit.
I remember that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, so the first bit I did was the one about how we should fuck. Then the second one was about how yoga pants have a weight limit, right?
Okay.
And it went really well. And I invited my relatives to both of them, and it went well. Then I invited them to the third one, and I did the joke about how I can I can't get convicted of assault because of my disability. Except that when I first said the joke, I said I could get away with assault. So it came out, except I used the other word, but I know that's where rape, and it's
Yeah.
very harsh. It's
Yeah.
very harsh, but it just I bombed, and I was like, I'm never inviting anyone to my
Yeah.
shows ever again. This is terrible.
Yeah. And how long did it take you to actually get comfortable and be able to develop that bit? Because I know that bit well.
Oh, up here, I stopped doing it
Okay.
until until I came up here.
Mm. So it was like 7, 8 years that
Yeah,
you shelved it.
yeah.
Damn.
Because I was like, I don't think it's funny because it's about me getting away with rape. You know?
I mean, that's interesting. And I have a not a similar bit, but a bit that I felt the same way about,
Yeah.
where it was about the N word, and about like how, the people should be able to, white guys should be able to say it when you sing along with songs. And it was this the whole elaborate bit. Okay. I did it 2 times and it did really well. Okay. Then the third time I did it, it fucking bombed horribly because
Yeah.
it's like a 5 minute fucking bit.
Yeah.
And then I did it at dive bar and I got nothing. And then I was standing outside and Bruce Purcell, he was like, look, he was like, it's not a bad bit, but I don't think you're ready to take that concept on.
Developed. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Okay.
it made me think like what other kind of bits or premises could I try to dive into that I'm not ready for? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even in my act right now, like I think I have a good 10 minutes for the most part, but I always think it's like, what bits in there am I not really ready to take on? You
Yeah.
know, or could be way better when I'm, 3, 4 years down the line. And I had never heard that you're not developed enough for that premise.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That was like the only bit that I did that with.
Mm,
Every other bit I've sort of just either kept or thrown away.
Mm-hmm. And do you record everything every
No.
time? No,
I will, but then I won't listen to it. So I'm like, what the fuck's the point?
really.
You know?
Why don't you want to listen to it?
God, I mean, first off, everyone hates your voice. If you like your voice, fuck you. You're not like a comic or anything. You have to hate your voice. You basically have to hate yourself when you're up there.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, like watching you should be like, this is so disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah,
And see, I've gotten comfortable with my voice. Like I don't like
yeah,
it,
I've
but I'm
gotten comfortable
comfortable.
too.
Yeah, because before this podcast, I did a podcast with my buddy.
Yeah,
You know, we lived in Colorado together in California, and then we moved out here together.
yeah.
So we did a podcast for like 4 years. It was just us fucking around. And so because I had to edit everything, I had to be able to
Oh,
listen to
okay.
my own fucking voice. And so I tortured myself for 4 years. So now it's bearable.
Okay.
That's the very least. But still I can't watch myself on stage. Like I record everything, but I usually don't watch it. I just listen to it.
I I just did some guest spots at Wise Guys,
Mm.
and like the whole weekend, and I didn't like, so I did well, but then I watched my videos and I was like, I didn't do well as I thought I did.
Yeah.
You know, like I touched my face a lot.
Oh.
I'm like, why am I touching my face? You know?
Yeah. See, for a while I would fuck with the mic stand too much. And then so I made a conscious decision to put the mic stand behind me.
Yeah.
And then I would put my hand in my pocket and then take it out and put it back in. And like it was constant. And I was like, all right, this is distracting. Like, you got to stop doing that.
Yeah.
So I try to gesture more, but then I see when I'm not gesturing, I'm just rubbing my palm in my hand. And I'm like, that's distracting. Like, you got to stop doing that. Like, I just look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so watching it makes me uncomfortable.
Another thing is distracting clothes.
Mm.
Is someone went up with like someone in Phoenix went up with like black and white pants or a black and white sweater or a tie-dye sweater, something, I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, the when they got off, the manager was like, I couldn't stop looking at your shirt. Like, I didn't know what you said because I just kept looking at your shirt.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things where I'll do like a simple logo like you're wearing,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
like I won't do a tie-dye or a striped shirt or anything like that.
Yeah. Or like anything that has too many words on it.
Yeah.
Because then people are just looking at it and trying to read what the hell does your
Yeah.
shirt say. Yeah. I never really thought, because I have a very simple wardrobe. You know, it's a bunch of t-shirts like that. It's usually merch from places that I've worked and
Yeah.
then, like breweries that I used to go to.
One time, so Butch Bradley, who's an amazing comic, Butch Bradley, did you go to his workshop? He had a
No,
workshop.
I was working that day.
Yeah, I
was
would
so
have gone,
pissed.
but I had no PTO because of COVID and stuff, so I couldn't go. But I would have gone. But
Yeah.
he went up one night. He had a shirt with a teddy bear on it, and it was sparkly,
Mm.
and it was a cool shirt. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But like, it was like you kind of didn't want to look directly at him. Because
Yeah.
you're like, dude, your shirt, like I can see all the angles of
Yeah.
all the lights, you know?
Yeah. I saw him at LA Comedy Club, like
Yeah.
actually performing.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a shirt. I guess it's part of his merch, because I know he like puts his hands like on his face a lot. and it was just him on his shirt doing that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like a drawn, it wasn't just a picture, but
Because I asked him, I was like, "Hey, do you not, why did you do that?" And he was like, I didn't even know I did it until people brought it up. And
he
it's
does
like,
it a lot.
your hands are around your neck. How do you not know that you're
Yeah.
doing that?
And it is, I mean, that is something that is kind of distracting,
Yeah,
when he's on stage and he does that, because it's
yeah.
like you wonder why, and you go, is he uncomfortable? Like, is
I,
he itchy?
I will tell you that the thing I like about Vegas over Phoenix is that we have local headliners that we can interact with, like
Mm,
Butch, Trix, Jay,
yeah,
Carlos Rodriguez,
yeah,
Jocelyn, Spiro, and Alex. Like these are all
yeah.
like they're headliners, but they're just cool as shit, and they talk to people.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like they're gonna be like, "Get away from me, like you
Yeah, yeah,
peasant."
yeah.
Get the, you know.
And that's what I like. I mean, you talked about Taco Dive Bar.
Yeah.
I That one and only time that I ever went there, I went up, I stayed for the show, and after the show, Adam Dominguez sat down and talked to me for like 2 hours.
Yeah, Adam's another one.
Yeah, and it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, you seem like you're fucking big and you're out there or whatever, and you're fucking talking to me,
Yeah,
talking about my, raping criminals joke. Like, I'm a fucking nobody, but it was really cool.
yeah. One thing that I can sort of relate to that is there's this new comic, John, that's like coming around and stuff. And I'm like, I liked one of his bits or something, so I was giving him advice, and then
Yeah,
I was talking to someone else, I don't know. And then John was like, "You should listen to him." And I was like, "Dude, I'm still at open mic level.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm not anyone famous."
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even me sometimes, and it's hard to give advice to
Yeah,
people, and sometimes it's hard to take advice. I was talking to Reese
yeah,
Russell.
yeah.
I had him on, and he was talking about how he doesn't listen to any advice that anybody
That's
gives
good.
him.
No, that's my advice is don't listen to advice.
Really.
I've come to realize no one knows shit.
Mm,
You know, you're gonna ask people what advice they don't give a fuck. They don't care.
mm.
Like they're just gonna say keep grinding.
Yeah.
Like just keep grinding, keep grinding. And I mean that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
You know, there's no secret ingredient, there's no nothing.
Hmm.
You know, you wanna be on shows, keep doing shows, produce your own shows,
Yeah.
you know.
See, that's interesting because I feel like I'm the exact opposite of Russ, and I guess you, is that I want to I want to hear what everybody has to say, because then I can pick and choose what could work for me, you know?
Yeah, you do, and then you hear it, and you're like, "Oh fuck, it's like the same as everyone else. Get the
Yeah.
fuck. I don't wanna hear it." Um, you know, everyone has their own
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
My friend Andy Steinberg, who actually tours with Ari Spears,
Oh, okay.
and I think he's starting to do his own stuff, like his own headlining gigs. But he explained it this way: if I told everyone in the comedy scene, like, we're going to lunch, in and out, I'm paying, you know, let's meet there at 12, whatever.
Hmm.
Everyone's going to take a different route. You know, everyone's going to
Mm,
be, maybe some people are closer, maybe some people are farther. You
yeah.
know, some people are going to take the highway, some others are going to take side streets.
Yeah.
You know, some people may walk, you know, so like it's different. Everyone has
Yeah.
their, it's going to take a different path, you
So
know.
so how do you feel about like comedy classes and these workshops and stuff? Because isn't it a similar thing where
I
you're
mean, it's kind of the same as everyone has their own thing. I think some comedians need that push, and comedy classes give a push.
okay.
I think classes may take you only so far, but so I took one down in Phoenix by this guy named Tony, and it was like the first free. It was like if you come to the free one, you know, like or if you come to the first one, it'll be free, so you know. And I
Hmm.
was so. Now that I think about it, I felt like I disrespected him because after he wanted to talk to everyone, like, hey, what do you think? Blah blah blah, and I was like, well, I actually do comedy. And here I am talking to Tony, and he's had a career, you
Yeah.
know, and I just told him I actually do comedy. And so, but I mean, I only took the free class. I have taken like a hosting seminar class because I don't think I'm the best host.
Okay.
But I mean, do what you think is gonna benefit you, just do that.
Yeah.
Some people some people have told me like, oh, this festival is only gonna take you so far. This festival, it's only so good if this blah blah whatever. And it's like, if you want to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't, in a way, because comedians are all about don't worry about the money, don't do this and that. So if you don't care about the money, then do festivals.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. If you just for the experience,
Yeah.
do it. I mean, that's why a lot of comedians do things because they're like, I just want the experience. Maybe I'll get a bit out of it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, because I've had people tell me, like, stay away from these types of comedy classes or whatever. And I've had other people saying, no, it's the best thing in the world. Like, you should go for it. And so I found some dude on YouTube where he gives kind of like
Yeah.
comedy, classes or whatever. And the only thing that benefited me really was his breakdown of like certain joke structures. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, like that I can actually take for when I sit down and write, I can think about, as a writing exercise, it's like hit one of each type of these structures,
Right. Yeah.
But there are those people who you can tell that they took a bunch of comedy classes before they ever did stand up, and like you could feel it in their
Yeah.
material where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, technically this joke works, but there's nothing surprising. There's nothing like they
Right.
almost feel bored telling it because it's very robotic.
Yeah. For me, I just watch people do stuff, and then I was like, oh, I'll just do that.
Oh yeah.
Like I didn't know anything about joke structure or a certain pattern or anything like that. Like I said, I just saw people. Actually, the first person I saw where I was like, I want to do what they're doing was Tom Segura.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I saw him at this club in Scottsdale called Stand Up Scottsdale, and it's kind of like LA Comedy Club because I know LA Comedy Club is an independent club, and so is Stand Up Scottsdale, and they would
Okay.
get fuck, they would get comedians that I don't really know of, right?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I was new, so I didn't really know any comics.
Yeah.
But they would get Dan Cummings,
Okay. Yeah.
which isn't a big name. They would get Brody Stevens. He's
Nice.
not a big name either, R.I.P.
Yeah.
And Andy Kindler, dude, I have a funny story about Andy Kindler. So I went there, and he was in the back, and I sat next to him. I had no idea who he was. And I go, hey, you going up tonight? So he goes up, and he goes, you know what, I'm not gonna, like, he's messing with the crowd, and he goes, you know what, I'm not gonna remember any of you guys. I don't care. The only thing I'm gonna remember is the comic in the back that asked me if I'm gonna go up tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Tom Segura was the first comic where I was like, I want to deliver just like this guy.
Yeah.
So,
and like, how big of a fan of stand-up were you before you ever got into it?
I wasn't at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I hear that from people, and it blows my mind.
Well, actually, not. I mean, I love Fluffy. I love Joe Coy.
Okay.
I think those were like the two. So I mean, I guess I was like 25% a fan.
Gotcha.
I never thought about doing it until my friend. You know how you read one of those joke books that's like 1,000 pickup lines, or it's 1,000 whatever.
Yeah.
So my friend was like, you should write a book about things that you want to do but shouldn't.
Okay.
So I started, doing stuff like that. Like there's a pickup line that I thought of that was like, I'm like a video game. If you blow me, I'll eventually. No, I'm like a bubble. Blow me and I'll eventually pop, or something like that.
Gotcha.
And do you remember the song "My Dick" by Mickey Avalon?
Yeah.
So me and my friend, we would do like your mom's. Like when we were in college, we would do like your mom jokes.
Nice.
And so we would do like, your mom's a grade A hooker, my mom's a grade A cooker, like shit like that.
Yeah.
And so there's a section in the book about all those like your mom jokes.
Gotcha.
And that like I just put it in my computer. It was never published or anything.
Okay.
But then for some reason I started thinking I might want to do comedy.
See, again, that's weird. I've heard a lot of comics say that I was never a big fan of comedy before I got into it, which is the exact opposite. I've been a fan of comedy since I was a kid,
Yeah.
and like I always thought like how great would it be to do that and whatever. But I've always been kind of socially awkward. I was very like not sheltered, but like closed off and
Yeah.
very reserved growing up.
Hmm.
And so when I first started stand up, I had to get over the stage fright
Oh, me
because
too.
having everybody look at me, it freaked me out.
Here's why I never thought about it. It's because I was I mean, I'm sure everyone was, but I was a shy kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had to get over stage fright when I did it.
Yeah.
The thing I get what was the first thing that you did that was remotely? Did you ever do any like theater or drama or anything like that?
No,
Talent shows?
nothing. The
I,
the only thing that I can remember when I was like a freshman in high school, me and a couple of my buddies, we would film jackass stunts and we would put it on YouTube, like a couple, it was like, we had a staple gun and I stapled my ear to my arm, and stupid shit like that,
can you? Well, I guess you can.
Well, it was like this way,
Oh,
and, but dumb shit like that. And that was the first time that I was, one, ever on camera, and two, that, I ever spoke in a way where it was like, I knew people were going to watch. You know
yeah,
what I mean? But if they're still on YouTube, if I watch it, you could tell how uncomfortable I am. Like I'm comfortable doing whatever dumb shit we're doing,
yeah,
but it was the speaking part that was always super uncomfortable for me.
yeah. So let's see. So apparently, when I was a kid, my grandpa was like, he should be in clown college. I don't know if he
Really?
meant stand up or clown college.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then the first time I like got in front of a microphone was I went to a math camp at the U of A because I lived in Tucson,
Mm.
and at the end they gave every kid a chance to talk about their experience in school or at the camp.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I don't want to be the only one that doesn't go up there.
Mm.
Turns
Okay.
out I was the only one that went out there.
Nice.
So like that was like the first time I like sort of surprised my parents
Yeah.
on speaking and stuff. And then yeah, I just forced myself to go up on stage and do
Yeah.
comedy.
Have you ever like in the beginning, did you ever freeze up on stage and like not go anywhere? Because that was my biggest fear before I got into stand up. Like when I moved out here and I was really thinking about it,
Yeah.
that was my biggest fear, is that I was gonna get up there, forget my material, and just freeze.
I forgot it. The when I did my assault joke the third time,
Mm.
once I stepped on stage, I forgot it, but I had past material that I fell back on
Okay,
until I remembered it.
gotcha.
Um,
But it's never been a complete freeze up and walk off.
no,
Okay,
like I always did my time.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a bitch.
Because I've seen it a couple times since I've started doing stand up.
Yeah,
And one guy, it happened to him. He was at the Silver Nugget, and I was going up right after him.
yeah.
And I've seen him before, and he's funny. Whatever. He gets up there, he does about a minute, and then he pulls out his phone to check his notes. And I guess he, like, whatever quick bullet points he had, it just wasn't registering,
And you just walk
and he
off.
just walked off. And then Dennis Lavender, who's the host of Silver Nugget,
Okay.
gets up there, tries to get the crowd riled up again. But I felt like he got them too fucking riled up, where they're yelling shit out and all of that.
I hate
and I was
that.
like, fuck, now I have to go up there.
You know, that to me, that's what Wise Guys it's kind of like. Like the crowd is like, "Hey, we're part of the show." It's
Mm.
like, "Fuck, no, you're the audience.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I want to tell you about some shit you paid to come hear me listen to."
Yeah, yeah,
But then you get like once one person yells out something, then everyone feels like, "Oh, we're at a town hall meeting.
yeah,
We all have opinions. Let's go."
yeah. I feel like there should be, especially at like Wise Guys or something, like a little flyer that's
Yeah.
like audience etiquette. They give it out to everybody, and these are the bullet points. Number one is shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a place where you tell them to shut up, and then the audience could be like, "Oh, you mean talk?
Yeah.
Okay," because there's no security or anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the weirdest heckle I have ever gotten is I was at Urban Lounge, and I was bombing.
Yeah.
Every joke I hit the punchline, it didn't go anywhere.
yeah,
There was a dude who sat in the back who just went "fuck him," and it destroyed me because I didn't know how to handle it. And then eventually I hit another punchline, and he didn't say anything, and I felt like the whole crowd was waiting for him to say something.
well, when he said "fuck him," was that towards you, or was that like
Towards the crowd.
Yeah. So like, was that
Yeah.
a heckle? Because to me, that kind of doesn't seem like a heckle.
It was like a very generous heckle. Like he was
Yeah.
being very nice about it.
Oh, I hate those.
Yeah.
They're like generous. Like, oh, I'm gonna help you out. It's like you're not.
Yeah.
Like that's not up to you.
Yeah. And like the when he didn't say it after a while, the audience was just waiting for him to say it, and so was I.
Yeah.
And so I just go, "Fuck him," and then it got the crowd kind of like on my side again.
Okay.
I was like, all right, this is good. That was like the weirdest. Like I've had people just yell random shit out.
Yeah.
I was at the dive bar, and there was just some homeless lady sitting there and just talking through
Oh.
everybody's set and just like talking at the comedian. And then when I got up there, she just kept saying my name over and over again. I was like, I don't even know how to address this. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous.
There's sometimes it works in your favor when like people talk, and then sometimes it doesn't go in your favor.
Yeah. So, do you have any like very memorable bombs that you've had?
No. No, not memorable bombs. Well, actually, no, I did a show at this place. Oh, fuck, I don't know, but it was in Phoenix.
Mhm.
And it was a contest.
Oh.
And the audience wrote down, I think, on a piece of paper who they wanted to win. So the person brings up my name, the host, and then the guy. It was like no people there, but the guy was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I said Justin Tietjen, and he goes, "All right, what's your name?" And I go Justin Tietjen, and then he keeps doing it, and he realizes he's like fucking with me. I guess,
Yeah.
maybe not. And then I found out that he got out of jail like 2 days before that. Like he started like pushing chairs and walking around, like he was upset.
Really?
Yeah.
Over your material?
No,
or-
because I said, because I was like, all right, man, fuck you. Because I knew he was fucking with me. So I guess
gotcha.
it was kind of my fault.
Okay.
So there was that. That's like the only memorable bomb, I guess, that I have. Yeah. I mean, there was a heckler that it was a drunk girl that was talking really loud. And so I started talking to her, and then I started doing my bits again, and I did this joke about how like you ever walk into like Pier 1 Imports or something and think like you're gay because you smell Bed Bath and Beyond or something because you smell a flower or something. You're like, oh, this is a nice flower.
Mhm.
There may be a big chance I'm gay, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, if I get like 5 more gay points, I might suck a dick. And the chick was like, I love sucking dick, blah, blah, blah. And I go, all right, you want to show me after the show? And it went crazy. And she did.
Oh, wow.
Not after the show. The next day, I texted her. Turns out she was a cosmetologist, and she had her own salon that she like rented rooms out and stuff.
Mhm.
So I went after hours. And she gave me a full body massage while I was naked,
Oh, man.
and then finished me off. So
That's fucking
it was
amazing.
a great. I can actually read you our text conversation. I was a bit aggressive in our text message,
That's
going back and
fucking
forth.
amazing.
It might be a while for me to find it, but yeah, I was.
See, because I always think about that, because I'm in a relationship. My
Yeah.
girl and I have been together for a while. So, I mean, the best thing that I've ever gotten from comedy is that I did really well one night, and she blew me on the ride home. Like, that was fucking great, you know? But, like, to go so far where you get a full body massage from some strange heckler chick and you get finished off, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, so I got a number that night. So I texted her the next day, and she was like, "Oh, I thought I pissed you off, blah blah." And I was like, "No, see, that was a help. That was a time where the like heckle whatever was helpful,
Yeah,
you know, because I had the right thing to say.
yeah,
Once I said, "Oh, you can show me after the show," like the crowd went crazy,
yeah, yeah.
and like she had a super. I don't know how high pitched her voice was, but I was like, "Man, it must be like fucking a dog's chew toy or something like
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
in bed." And so anyway, she says, so this is what we text. I say, where she tells me, and I go, like to eat, like as a question.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, of course, cock is my favorite thing to put in my mouth, but I'm not picky when it comes to food.
God damn, you found a fucking soldier, man.
Yeah, and I go, what about this place? And then you can swallow my dick after. uh, and then she's like, oh, well, like, I just want to hook up, kind of. Like, you don't have to wine and dine me, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I go, all right, I'll eat beforehand. Oh, and I was like, like, I didn't know where she lived, so I was like, where are we gonna do this? Are we just, like, are you just, like, what's going on? She's like, oh, like, come, you know, then that's when she told me, like, I have a salon, why don't you come there?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think
Now,
that's basically it.
was that here in Vegas or where was that?
No, that was in Phoenix.
Gotcha.
But she lives in Glendale, and that was the thing. This is gonna sound, it might sound stupid, but I did that for like the experience because she lived far away, you know.
Yeah.
So Glendale, I was in Mesa, she was in Glendale. That's like from here to Boulder City, like
Okay.
it's a ways away.
Yeah.
And then when she told me like, oh, I'm just gonna give you, like, I thought you deserved a blowy or whatever, I was like, oh fuck, do I want to go all that way just for a blowjob?
I
But I
mean,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I got a massage out of it, so
That's fucking amazing.
it was yeah, it was great.
God damn. I remember one of the like most memorable heckles that I've ever got. Or it wasn't even a heckle because I was kind of doing crowd work. I was at Noreen's. It was just a couple weeks ago when that big Steelers game was going, and there was a couple Steelers fans who were hanging out at the bar, and I went up there and I was gonna set up one of my fucking one of my bits, and so I asked an old lady, like older lady, if her parents ever gave her the sex talk, and her response to me was, "My dad died when I was 12. Do something with that." I was like, "What the fuck?" And like that's always the shit you run into with crowd work because I've been trying to do more and more of that
Yeah.
to get comfortable kind of thinking on my feet. But that the only thing I could think of was, yeah, he would have rather died than give you the sex talk.
Well, you could have just been like, so you never got the sex talk, or just been like, so did your mom show
Yeah.
you? I don't know.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that she said. So we talk about, I talk about food, and then I go, then you can swallow my dick. And she goes, deal. Does that mean you're paying for food? And then I go, I can, or would you rather just get full off of my dick? Right? And then she goes, well, do you actually want to hang out or just get off? There's no, like, she just wants honesty. She goes, I'm cool with meeting for a drink and then taking that cock down my throat.
Damn.
And she's like, I just thought you were cute and deserved an amazing blow. And that was the first girl that, like, loved doing that. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, all the other girls were like, I mean, I'll do this for you,
Yeah.
you know, but this girl was like,
She loves it.
yeah, like, she made all, like, the noises and and it was, dude, and, like, I was like, what the fuck are you, like, sucking my soul? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, it's like that Louis C.K. bit when he talks about how he was in a very like deep sleep and it was like some, Aztec whore speaking a dead language as she sucks his dick
Yeah.
and dripping syrupy heroin into it. Like, that's what I think of when I have an amazing blowjob, is that bit. That's amazing, though. And so, biggest question on my mind is, where did you finish?
In her mouth.
Swallow or spit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the first girl that swallowed too.
Of course she did. She's a
She
fucking
don't know,
whore.
dude. She she and I was actually worried about telling people because I didn't want to get out to be like, oh, she's like a fucking whore.
Yeah.
But yet, and then another comic like told people about her and stuff, and I was worried. And she's like, no, dude, tell her that like she's a girl. You're gonna know the exact type of girl I'm talking about. She goes to music festivals. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that's how she finds places to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if I come back to your tent, like I'll fucking swallow you. So
Oh, that's amazing. She doesn't care if the word gets out, then she has more dick for herself.
yeah, like she has an OnlyFans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she has 2 kids.
Wow.
I think she has a boyfriend, and his name's Justin. I like to think she misses me, and so she was like, "Well, it's the closest I can get."
Oh man, that's fucking amazing. Is that the only time you've been offered sexual favors after a show?
Yeah, like I'm not. The second time with her, so she's done it. We did it twice,
Okay.
and the second time she did it, someone had to like force me to go like chase her. You know.
Oh, really?
Because I'm not like a chasing. Like she came up to me the first time.
Yeah.
You know. And then before I left or she left, I was like, I just gave her my phone and she put in her number.
Mm-hmm.
But the second time, someone was like, let's go do this and that, blah, blah, blah. And, I was like, I got fucking work in the morning, But,
yeah.
But I'm not like a big chaser of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never looked. Like, if I respond to a chick, I react to their action. So, like, I only hit on a chick if I think they're hitting on me.
Gotcha.
I don't go up to a chick and be like, hey, and then just start, flirting with her and stuff.
Okay. And has it been that way your entire life? Like, even when you were young in high school?
Pretty much, yeah.
Really?
When I was
I was that fucking, because I was like 6 foot, 110 pounds in high school. So I was this real tall, lanky motherfucker. And nobody fucking liked me. Like, I never got approached by women. I had a girlfriend through high school, but it was like one of those, like, it's fucking whatever it is.
I have a disability. So in school, I was a kid with a disability, which, people don't really understand.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So the only people that understand that are like in high school or out of high school, I think, and go like, oh, you're still like a normal person.
Yeah.
You just have limitations.
Yeah. But I was always a kid that I was chasing everybody, and later on, like senior year, when, more parties were going on and all of that, like I still had a girlfriend and I cheated on her regularly because it was like the first time that I ever got approached by other women.
Oh, so
yeah. And so it was like that thing, but I would also chase it constantly. Like if a chick kind of showed me a little bit of interest, but then walked away, 30 minutes later, I'm in her face, like trying to get something.
So word never got around to your girlfriend?
It was a small town. It always got around.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you got in trouble?
All the time.
Oh, okay.
And then there was, and I credit, because I used to be a piece of shit when I was young. I had a drug addiction. I used to rob houses. I cheated on my girl all the time. And then the first year out of high school, I did acid for the first time.
Yeah.
And that completely changed how I looked at myself.
Okay.
And like, so right away, like a week later, I went to that girlfriend and I was like, look, I've been cheating on you. Like, and you know this, like, but there are also many others that you don't know about. Like, I'm not good for you. You need to go off. You need to stop fucking with me. Like, just, you don't have to worry about me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we should both just move on. And then I just slowly started changing shit about me. But I credit acid, like that first acid trip, because it really did. But because I was still a drug addict, I tried to do acid all the time,
Yeah.
and then I would have just terrible trips. And then I was like, okay, you gotta, if you want to have fun with drugs, do it sparingly, you know? And so
Yeah.
it changed kind of the addictive minds. I mean, I'm drinking at noon, but like I can
Yeah.
manage that.
I was like I was a shy kid. I didn't like if you told someone, I mean, my third grade teacher knows I do stand up. But if you told like if I went to my high school reunion
Hmm.
and they were like, "Yeah, I do stand up." They'd be like, "Get the fuck out." Like they wouldn't
Yeah,
I think they wouldn't expect it.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think anyone expects it when they meet me.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of the same way. Not a lot of people that I went to school with, I'm in touch with.
Yeah.
There's a couple people who, as soon as I started posting this and that about doing stand up, they reached out to me immediately. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, you
Yeah.
know? And like the people that I work with, like even to this day, when I have a full time job, but I'm the quiet guy who just gets his job done.
Same with me.
And when they find out that I do stand up, they're fucking blown away.
I
Like, you don't talk at all. Like, how are you on stage fucking every night?
I try not to like people. Let's see, my boss. Some people know,
Yeah,
but like not a lot of people. And
yeah.
then there was this one time these people, like I asked these girls for help, and they're like, "All right, tell us a joke." And so I didn't tell them. I don't think they know. I think they're just like, "All right, well, if you want me to help you, like tell me a
Oh,
joke."
okay.
But if they ask me again, I'll have to be like, "No, I told you my stupid fucking one-liner that I tell people when they ask me to tell a joke when they find out I'm a comedian." And it's
Yeah. I always do, those popsicle stick jokes. If anybody ever asks me, it's like the one that I always go to is, what did the ocean do to the beach?
it waved.
It waved. I fucking.
You want to know how good that joke is? I just predicted the punchline. That's how good that joke is.
It's an amazing joke. But that's the one I always give everybody when they ask me for it. And then they just look at me like, you do stand up? I'm like, fuck you. Don't ask me to fucking perform for you right now.
Well, I think that's what makes people a good stand-up is you can't predict what material they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like look at Louis C.K. You're like, oh, this guy's gonna not do good because he's a big fat fucking bald guy, but then he goes up there and does the basic jokes but makes it hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to rework a couple jokes that, I do now, but because I realized that I was shooting the punchline in the setup. Like there's one I have about Jeffrey Dahmer and stereotypes,
Yeah.
and like the way I used to set it up is like, I never understood stereotypes like the stereotype white people put ketchup on everything.
Yeah.
Well, the punchline is the fact that Jeffrey Dahmer had ketchup in his fridge. And so I realized that was fucking up the punchline. And
Oh,
then so I switched it up to white people can't cook. And then I realized that when you say that, they don't expect the ketchup line. And it's little shit like that I never really.
yeah. It's like little words and
Yeah. And that's the weirdest shit is like, because the premise of it is pretty good. I mean, it's a pretty good joke. But I would do it and sometimes it would hit, sometimes it wouldn't.
yeah.
And I didn't realize that something as small as that would make it work a lot better.
Yeah.
So what is your writing style like?
Just
what
right. I write.
Just right.
It's like there's no
There's
style.
no style to
I go
it.
to. Do you know Madhouse Coffee?
No, I have no idea.
It's like Durango and Desert Inn.
Okay.
It's like a stupid fucking hipster coffee place. I hate it. But they're open 24/7. I love coffee at night. There's
Really?
this place, yeah, in Phoenix. I live next to this place called Coffee Rush, and I would go. They would close at 12, and so I would go there at night or the day, but whatever. But I still like it at night. And yeah, so I go. I have a schedule. There's also a Starbucks on the way to Noreen's that I hit like an hour and a half to like an hour before Noreen's.
Okay.
On Wednesday, I'll go either after Wise Guys or maybe I'll go to LA Comedy Club and watch a show, and then I'll go to Madhouse after that. But yeah, I have like a routine.
Okay.
The only time I wrote at home was when I had COVID. That was the only time I wrote at home.
Yeah. See, uh, anytime I get advice about writing, people
Yeah.
say just write everything. Just
Yeah.
write all the time.
That's my problem. I don't.
I don't either. And it's very hard for me to sit down and write sometimes because I have this dumb complex of like anything that I put on paper, I want it to be great.
Yeah.
And
I know. Yeah, me too.
yeah,
But yeah,
so,
but I always think about, Louis C.K. says a good writer writes crap. You know.
yeah, and it's just very hard for me. Like it's so hard because even and it's even hard for me to work on bits that didn't work on stage because I have countless things in my notebook that I thought was, hey, this is really good. Like I'm gonna take this to stage.
Yeah.
Did it once, maybe twice,
Yeah.
and it didn't really work, and so I never touched it again. And like it's the hardest thing for me to go back to it and try to figure it out.
I've never gone back to stuff.
Really,
Yeah.
you just throw it away if it doesn't work.
I mean, kind of. Let's see. One thing that. Let's see. I started talking about a joke that one of the best feelings in the world is cutting people off in traffic. That was a bit I came up in Phoenix. I just it's something I forgot about. It wasn't necessarily something where I was like, oh, this sucks, I'm gonna throw it away. It was just something that you start focusing on new bits and then you forget about old bits.
Mm.
So
And so how or because I know some comics they like tabloid.
yeah,
She has always told me that she never wants to do the same set twice.
I
And
I get that.
yeah,
I've run across people that do that, but then then when are clubs gonna know that you like what your material is? That's the
yeah,
problem with that is they want to see that you're working on material and getting better.
yeah.
It's like a streaky football player or a streaky basketball player. Like great. I don't know. Alan. Who's a streaky there are basketball players that are consistently good like Ray Allen or Reggie Miller,
Mhm.
where yeah, they shoot threes, but they work on that three,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when it comes to make that shot, they've done it a million times. So the coach is like, okay, you're probably gonna make it. But if you have someone like, I don't know, let's just say, okay, right now, let's just say LeBron James. I know he's a great player, but he can play any position. He practices any position. He practices shots everywhere.
Yeah.
So by practicing shots everywhere, it's not as good as I don't know. Is this a good example? It's not as good as just focusing on one shot.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like I just talked in circles.
No, I kind of understand that. It's like people who just, run across the board and try everything versus honing your skill
Right.
onto a specific thing and getting as good as you can at that.
Right.
I get it. But see, and that's the thing. It's like with Reese when I talked to him,
Yeah.
he told me the same thing. He was like, I don't like to do the same set twice. I'm constantly writing, so I'm constantly bringing different shit on stage. And then he said something about he doesn't like to see people do the same set all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm one of those guys because I feel like I have to. And it was one of the first advice that I got from a comic was beat a set into the ground and make sure that it works, and polish it and do all of that.
But, you want to make sure it like you don't sound robotic.
Which I've found out that sometimes I do. Usually it's when I bomb that I'm very robotic because I know what I want to say throughout the set. So if the first couple jokes don't go over, then I'm very robotic in just saying and just getting through it.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to fucking get.
Yeah. But it's like when a set goes well, like first couple hit really hard.
Yeah.
Then even though I've said the material fucking 100 times, I still feel it, and I can still get in the groove of getting through the material, but it seems like it's the first time I'm saying it, or it's like spontaneous.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you gotta. Even though Louis, it seems like he's coming. Like I hate when people go like, "Oh, you're just coming up with shit off the top of your head." You're like, "No,
Yeah.
I've done that. This is a muscle that you have to work out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like one of my favorite stand-ups is Doug Stanhope.
Oh yeah,
He's my favorite comic, of all time, pretty much.
yeah,
And he seems like that when he's on stage. It seems like he's just coming up with this shit and he's just talking. But I watch his podcast and he talks about how nervous he is before he does any set, how,
yeah.
over rehearsed everything is. But he has this weird comfortability that he portrays and everything just seems, easy.
Well, that's probably why he drinks, because he's nervous.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I relate to him so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever done a set sober. But I've never
Really?
Yeah, never completely sober. I've had maybe, a drink or two.
Oh, well, I mean, are you drunk when you say it?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that 2 beers would get you drunk.
Mm-mm.
2 beers would fuck me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's because I weigh 95 pounds,
Yeah.
And
But like for my first set, and I kind of stuck to this religiously for the first, few months,
yeah,
was I would have 1 beer and a shot of whiskey.
yeah,
And that would get me just feeling good enough and take the stage right away. But the other week, I was at Founders.
yeah,
I went up super late because I hit Silver Nugget first, and then I went to Founders.
yeah.
I was fucking trashed by the time I went up stage, and I was slurring my words. I was losing my train of thought and all of this. And so then I kind of abandoned what I was talking about, and I
Yeah.
went to a couple that was sitting at the bar, just started asking him questions, and I found out that she let him fuck her in the ass like the first date or something.
Oh, I think I was at that.
Yeah. And so I just talked to them for the rest of the set. And even Liz, I could tell that she knew I was too fucked up to be up there, and she like called out. She was like, "All right, get off stage already." And that hit me in a weird place because I've never been asked in a sense to get off stage. And
Yeah.
I went and apologized to them like the next day at Noreen's. I was like, I was way too drunk. Like I shouldn't have been on stage, but it was kind of the perfect place to be too drunk because it's fucking open mic.
Yeah.
Like nobody
that's
gives a
true.
shit.
That's true.
But that's the only time that I've ever been too drunk.
I feel like anal is more like a first date thing now these days.
You think so?
I don't. Yeah, it's becoming more and more like, okay.
hmm
I mean, I'm not that guy. I don't do that.
You don't do anal?
No, I don't. But it just, I
Why
guess
not?
you gotta come across the right. Because it's like, why would you sneak around the back when you're invited right in the front door? And then what? You're possibly gonna slip in mud when you sneak around back. It's like, why the fuck would you can walk right in the front door, get drunk, and throw up, and then leave.
Yeah.
Why would you try and sneak around in the sneak in the party
Yeah.
and possibly slip on some mud?
That's hilariously disgusting.
Have
Have you ever done anal?
No.
No. Oh, I did. When
Yeah, did it hurt? How'd your butt? I hate it when comics do that.
Right.
I fucking. God,
and I was
hate
gonna
myself
think of
right
some
now.
stupid fucking response, but I won't go there. But I was 15 and
Well, what? You're 15?
I was 15. My cousin and I.
Whoa! Hold on,
No,
dude.
it doesn't get that weird. But he's a year older than me, and so we called up some chick that he knew. Small town. We called her up. We're like, hey, like, you want to come over? You want to
Double team, yeah.
Well, we didn't even go there first. He was like,
But cheated.
but no. So here's how it went. He called her up and he was like, do you have any friends? Like, do you want to come over? Like, party, drink, whatever. And, she goes, I don't want to go out tonight. I don't have very many friends, but I think I have one chick who'd be down. So she called her up.
Oh, so a foursome.
No.
Oh.
So it only ended up that her friend came out. And
Not your friend.
No.
Not your cousin.
Well, it was
Okay, I'll stop trying to guess what's gonna happen.
So this is what happens. It was me, my cousin, and then this one chick who came over to drink. And she pretty much laid it out completely that she was like, I'm down. Like, I'm down to fuck, whatever. And then when it started, this is the only threesome I've ever been in. Was me, my cousin, and this chick. And she said that she didn't want to fuck regularly, that we had to fuck her in the ass. And so
No, the other way wasn't an option.
that's what she said.
What?
I don't know.
That's fucking.
I think it's some weird kind of like
Was she
intimacy thing.
Mormon?
No. She was this dirty black chick from Texas. I don't know.
I wonder if she had something,
Oh, God, I
and
hope
that's why
not.
she was like, "Stay away from there," but
Yeah.
you can do
You know,
the other
I've
thing.
never thought about that. I've never
Oh.
thought that maybe she had some kind of like infection or something.
I hope you think about it a lot now. I
Oh,
hope
I
you
do.
don't sleep tonight because you're like, I wonder if I have something.
Oh, trust me. I mean, I probably have something that is undiagnosed.
Yeah.
I dated a chick for 8 years. Or not 8 years, fuck, 8 months. And by the end of it, she told me she had herpes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking fantastic.
that's
And then
great.
when I was freaking out, she goes, "None of my other boyfriends freaked out this much. Like, why are you overreacting?" First time I ever thought about hitting a chick.
Yeah,
Right?
I can. I mean, if you just flip that situation, the chick would fucking murder you.
Right?
And be like, what are you doing fucking me knowing that you have herpes? Get it fixed.
Exactly.
Get it figured out. I mean, that reminds me of, have you heard Big J's joke about the Notebook? You know, if you
Sounds familiar.
flip the Notebook and call it like the playbook, like
Oh,
it would be the most
Creep,
hated
yeah.
movie. You know, it would get canceled. People would hate it.
yeah.
People would probably have protests and burn it, and you know, and all this shit.
I agree. But I'm glad you're on my side of it. And you're on because honestly, when I tell people or if I tell them unprompted, there's only one time I've ever thought about hitting a woman. They go, "Come on, man. Like you shouldn't hit a woman." And then I tell that story and they go,
All
"Okay,
right.
I get it."
I get it. It's like Bill Burr's bit. It's like, you know, people go, "There's not a reason to hit a woman." He's like, "Really? I mean, yeah, there's reasons.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you should do it, but there's reasons.
Yeah.
You know, there's reasons to like fucking, dude. I went to Christmas and this is why I don't want kids. Like my nephew would just complain whenever you would take his toy away, and it was like, dude, you're gonna fucking, you hit it so much.
Yeah.
You're gonna break it. I just bought you this. You're gonna break it, you know.
Oh, I thought you were just walking around taking toys from
Oh,
kids.
no.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah, just like bullying kids.
I mean, that's the thing. You know, I'm an uncle as well.
Yeah.
I actually bully those kids. Like
you?
if they walk up to me and they start, you know, talking shit or whatever, like I'll push them to the ground.
Well,
I'll try to fight them.
He's turning 2. You know, he's turning 2 this month. So, and they live in Boise, so it's not like I see him all the time.
Yeah.
So I can't be that piece of shit uncle.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna, yeah.
I mean,
So,
I took care of 2 of my nephews because they're right around the same age. When they
Yeah.
were like 2 years old, I had to babysit them. I was hungover one day, so I set them in front of the TV with some like Cheerios or some shit, and I sat on the couch, and I ended up falling asleep. And then I woke up, and they weren't right there, and I panicked, and I found them in the kitchen. They had gotten into the fridge and broke eggs all over the fucking kitchen.
well, at least that's all they broke,
Yeah.
right?
But that was the day that I decided I don't want kids.
People don't trust me. I want to do a joke about how people don't expect you to do anything when you have a disability.
Oh yeah.
It's like he's gonna crumble. Don't ask him to do anything.
Yeah. Damn it. I wish I could say my alcoholism is a disability. Get away, but everybody just looks down on you.
Yeah.
Like you could change.
You know, it's a disease. Oh yeah, fuck you. That's what you're gonna blame it on.
I would love to. There are many things I don't want to do because I drink too much.
Yeah, there's a lot of things where, yeah.
It's like when my girlfriend tells me to make her come. I'm like, I'm a little tired, a little drunk. Let me just get off.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, brother. We'll wrap this shit up.
And
This was,
whatever, we're having fun. I'm
Yeah.
having fun.
Unless you got another fucking cosmetic chick blowing you
No, I
story.
wish. No, I that was the only time. Like I said, I
Fucking
don't
amazing.
really pursue anyone. And then the girls I pursue are like, why are you, pursuing me? And it's like, I'm fucking reacting to how you're acting towards me.
And do you think you have a good gauge for that, or do you think it may?
No,
Yeah.
I thought I did. Dude, the last chick I texted, so we had an awkward encounter, you know, and then I was like, hey, last night was awkward. I like forgot how to function, whatever. Um, but I think we're on the same page,
Yeah.
and I would like to do it again tonight. And so she texted me, like after work, because she was at work. She texted, the next text was, I'm home. Do you want some ice cream? And so I'm like, fuck, we're on the same page. Then I get there and she's like, then I go, so because I like try and make some moves and I go on the couch. I'm like, oh, she'll come over the couch. I'll make and it doesn't happen. And so then I go, so we're not on the same page. And she goes, no. I was like, why didn't you fucking text me that? Why didn't you fucking text me that?
Oh, that's amazing.
And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had many awkward interactions with women because I thought they were on the same fucking page. And it's like this like movie scene where I
Yeah.
go in to kiss a woman and she pulls back.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh.
My friend
stop.
had a joke about that, how the usual thing, like, it just happened. I don't know, it just happened so fast. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, I've tried to kiss so many girls and they like flip out. Like, that didn't think about crossing your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. And I mean, and it's something I'm curious about, like how do I phrase this question? Like, how often do you hook up with women?
Never. No.
Really?
Not really. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like it'll happen kind of randomly and then
Yeah, pretty much. It'll just happen randomly.
Yeah. Damn. Because I was kind of that way. Like I said, I've always been an awkward guy.
Yeah.
So it was very hard. For me, the hardest things were the icebreaker and then the closer. But in the middle, like conversationally, I could always keep a woman interested.
Yeah.
But I never knew the signs, of how far to take it. And it was always hard for me to break the ice.
I think I had a chance at that coffee shop I go to. There was a chick that I started talking, but and it also just never crosses my mind.
Really?
Stuff just never, like, I went on a date with this chick in Phoenix. She was a comic, and like, I had a chance to kiss her, but I was just like, oh, this is, whatever. We're
Yeah.
having fun. We're just like enjoying this, because I had like my, how you put your knee up and stuff like that, a weird way. But and then she was just like leaning her head on my knee, and that, like, I could have just gone in and kissed her, but I just laid back and was like, oh, let's, yeah. I'm bad at signs and shit.
Yeah. I feel like most of us are. Like most guys, just because it's such a subtle thing that sometimes you never pick up on it.
Yeah.
Like I was hanging out with a chick, it's like back in high school or some shit. I'm over at her house, or her parents' house, whatever. And I'm in her room and she goes, like, I'm going to go take a shower real quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you better not follow me in there. And as a young kid, I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, I'm just going to sit here. But nowadays, you're like, okay, that was a small sign of like, hey, maybe come shower with me. Like, it'd be this dope, whatever. But I didn't pick up on it,
A lot of it is like, since so many girls give me shit, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to be a stone fucking wall and not like hit on anyone or, and have no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish, like, I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm in a relationship.
Yeah.
So comedy has kind of gotten me laid before.
Okay.
But it's like, whatever. But I always wonder about that. It's like, if I did comedy in my early 20s.
Yeah.
How fucking not focused on the craft I would be. Because I'd be out partying, I'd be out trying to get laid all the fucking time. But now I just, I drink, I do my shit, and I go home.
I was watching Two Bears, One Cave, and that's what, like, Bert Kreischer said. He was like, I think we're so successful because we focus more on the craft than the chicks.
Mm.
I
Yeah,
mean, it does make
it
sense.
does. But I can't even think of like some comics in the scene that I could point to and go like, this dude's always just trying to get pussy. Like
Yeah.
he's never focused on it, you know?
Um. Fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, there was a comic that who used to open for Tom Segura, and I said something about, hey, can you get me tickets, something like that, and he's like, I could get you laid, or no, I said something about a guest spot. I
Yeah.
said, hey, it'd be awesome if, like, I was joking about it because this was after he blew up. He was doing like arenas and stuff,
Mhm.
and so I was joking about it, and he brought up, oh, would you rather get laid or would you rather do a guest spot? I was like, are you fucking? You just asked a comic if you'd rather get laid or
Yeah.
do a guest spot. Are you out of your fucking mind? Of course I went for Tom, not just any comic, for Tom Segura.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, are you out of your fucking? Of course I want to do a guest spot for Tom Segura.
That's hilarious. And I feel like a lot of people who aren't comics wouldn't understand that.
No.
You know, because they're like, of course, I would just, I would
Yeah.
take pussy over fucking whatever. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
would rather do that guest spot.
My dude, this made me angry. It didn't make me angry in the moment, but it's making me angry now. So I have a friend who he wants to do freelance work, right? They want to start doing freelance work for something, for their job, and like be their own boss and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so they're trying to get stuff going, and their friend was like, "Why don't you just get a regular job?" And now that I think about that, that makes me so angry
Yeah.
that someone told you that.
Yeah.
That's basically saying give up on your dreams.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like you can't, I'm like, you can't talk big dreams with small-minded people. People won't understand.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, because that's the I guess the culture of like middle America and
Yeah.
where we live is just it's get a good job, get a wife, settle down, have kids.
It sounds so boring to
Oh
me.
my God.
Doing the same shit every day.
Like that chick that I told you who told me she had herpes.
Yeah.
She was the push that I needed to get out of Texas, like the small town.
Nice.
Because my buddy, like a couple of my buddies had already planned for months to move out to Colorado.
Yeah.
And like I just never thought about going with them.
Yeah.
Because I had a job, I had a girlfriend, I was, living with my brother at the time. But then that happened. That night, after the big fight we had, I drove to my buddy's house, sat
Yeah.
around, smoked weed, and I told him about it. And he was like, come to Colorado with me. And I was like, I can't, whatever. He goes, give me one good fucking reason why you can't.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a reason. And so I dropped my life in a week and I moved out there with him. Like I
Nice.
quit my job,
Good.
told my brother that I was going to, have to go. And he, of course, he was just like, yeah, fucking go, man.
Yeah.
But
My-
it's like,
yeah.
it was like being stuck in that small town terrifies me because
Oh,
I
yeah.
know all the people, like friends and relatives who have a wife, have a job that they hate, have kids on the way. And it sounds terrifying to me.
Yeah. It's it. My favorite advice. Do you know who Gary Vee is?
No, I don't
Some
think
people.
so.
He's like the modern day Tony Robbins. Do you know who Tony
I know
Robbins is?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, he started an online wine business and he became an entrepreneur. Now he's kind of like a job. I mean, he still has his business,
Yeah.
but he's like a job coach, a motivational speaker, and all this stuff. My favorite thing. So this kid was like, "Hey, just got out of college. I live at home. Blah blah blah. What advice do you have for me?" And Gary Vee goes, "Tell your parents to go fuck themselves." And I think that's the best advice that anyone. I mean, at the time I was still living at home, so it was
Yeah.
hard to be like, "Yeah, like I love this,"
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the greatest advice ever because so many people rely on their parents. I feel like even I'm sure I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
But you still have to make an effort to get out there and do your own shit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, like that saying goes, like if you stay in your hometown, it's like reading one chapter of a book.
Yeah.
You have to get out there and do
Yeah,
a lot of different shit.
makes sense. I mean, see, I never had that problem. My parents kicked me out of the house when I was 16.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was
Kudos on your parents. Fucking, I love them.
but it was for a shitty reason because they kicked me out for having weed. And
Oh,
then now I work in the weed industry and I pay my fucking taxes
god
with it.
damn, dude, you're really good at negotiating. I'm on your side again.
Yeah. But like I never had that problem of relying on my parents because I was homeless for 2 months after they kicked me out.
Were you?
Yeah, and they didn't care.
What did you learn during those 2 months?
That
Like, did you learn anything or?
I mean, one of the things is like, in a sense, surviving on very little. You
Yeah,
know, like because I've been relatively broke
yeah.
since
Well, yeah,
I left, but it's easy for me. You know what I mean? It's easy for me like to have an air mattress and be okay with it
yeah,
because I slept on a park bench. You know, it's just that kind of perspective type
yeah.
thing. But one of the greatest things is that in those 2 months, like I went to school early every day because I got free breakfast.
You went to school while you were homeless?
Yeah,
Okay,
because it was 2 guaranteed meals every day.
okay.
And it was like that kind of like
So
I gotta eat.
did you get like more of a hunger to like learn,
No,
or
no,
did you just go for food?
just for food. Just for food and something to do all day. Because if I didn't have anything to do, like I would have gotten into more trouble.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew that about myself.
Okay.
And of course, like if I didn't show up for school for 2 months, then
People would be like, "What the?" Yeah.
exactly, then they're looking for me and parents get in trouble and all that shit. Eventually, my brother picked me up. And, because he
Yeah.
didn't realize, because he lived, like a town over or something.
Yeah.
Eventually, he caught wind of it and like tracked me down,
Okay.
which that was great. But like I've always been, especially since then, like very independent. Like I can,
Yeah.
but it's the biggest thing that I tell people. It's like you're comfortable. You're comfortable in your
Yeah.
hometown. You're comfortable with your parents, whatever. Like I have cousins who lived with their parents since until they were like 27, something
Well,
like that.
I lived till I was 24. So I
Yeah.
went from my parents' house till I was 24. Then I went up here in Vegas with my friend's parents.
Mhm.
Then a year after that, I went to my grandpa's. Then when the
Gotcha.
pandemic hit, I went back to Tucson. But my parents lived in Boise. They owned a house in Tucson.
Okay.
And I felt like even though I was independent and sort of on my own, I still felt like I wasn't really on my own because
Mm,
my grandpa owned the house, my parents owned the house.
yeah.
I lived with my friend's parents, so I never really felt like I was on my own.
Gotcha.
And I'm on my own now, and I love it.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's great.
it's one of the best experiences that you can have is like out of your comfort zone,
Oh
knowing
yeah.
that like you're depending on yourself.
Oh
Like
yeah, I love
it's
it.
up to you, you know.
Yeah, one of the things that makes me angry is a lot of kids with disabilities is they want to console with mom and dad before they do things.
Mm,
Like I might be like, "Hey, what would you do in this situation?" And they're like, "Well, it depends on what my parents say." And it's like, "No, you're
yeah,
20. You
yeah,
have to figure this shit out."
yeah,
There are going to be times where maybe they're not there. Maybe they get in a car accident and you're at home and they can't pick you up or something. You have to figure stuff out,
yeah. Oh yeah.
you
See,
know?
like I always had my older brother,
Yeah,
where like I said, I lived with him for I think it was like 5 years,
yeah,
and then like 4 or 5 years. And he's always been the person that if I run into a weird situation, like I'll call him up and I'll be like, what do you think about this?
yeah,
Just kind of get advice. And there have been times where he goes, I don't know, dude, like you got to figure this shit out,
yeah,
And it's a weird feeling to just be like, I'm on my own, even with something like with relationship
yeah.
or whatever. It's like, I got to figure this shit out.
Like even now, like at work, when my boss doesn't show up and he takes a day off, I hate it, but at the same time, I love it because I have to figure how to do
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and it's,
And using the whole work thing, it's like I took a trip to Texas and I was out there for like 3 weeks.
yeah,
Somebody had to fill in my position who had never really done my job before.
yeah.
When I got back, it was all to shit.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me this.
It was just all shit. Like my boss or my manager was telling me like, it's good to have you back. Like this dude was fucking up. And
Yeah,
then it was like two things about that. It's like one, like the dude couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
like for 3 weeks. But then also my manager couldn't give him some kind of pointers, so he didn't completely fuck it up the entire time.
I'll give you a great example. So when Texas was going through their like freeze thing,
Mm-hmm.
everything was freezing.
Yeah.
They told people like, hey, to stay warm, do this, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yet people would be like, no, how about you fix like my electricity and stuff like that? It's like, look, I understand how the government should look out for their people, but at the same time, shit happens.
Yeah.
You have to figure shit out. It sucks that your family's cold. It's always gonna suck when
I love the simplicity of that.
when,
Your
like-
family's cold.
it sucks that you're hurting.
Yeah.
And you can't do shit, but you have to figure like again, shit happens.
Yeah.
You have to figure out like if you're in the wild, you'd fucking die.
Yeah, and that's most of this country is like we're so comfortable with the convenience of everything
Yeah.
that if shit hits the fan, I mean, it kind of did during the pandemic. Like we're all out of toilet paper and shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, why panic and buy toilet paper? Like what?
I saw Chris Porter at Wise Guys, and he was like, "Yeah, I realized we're all fucked if we were in like the Stone Age because."
Yeah.
The internet went down, and oh no, our fucking lives is over. It's with the toilet paper.
It was the most bizarre thing.
I bought a bidet because of toilet paper. I didn't like it at all.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never even used one. Like I don't know how much I would like it.
Maybe for a girl I can see, but for a guy, when you have when your butt isn't really shaved. When you have like when you have a beard down there, it's like wiping a wet beard. Like you're just fucking smearing it everywhere, and it's
that's hilarious. I was thinking about what you were talking about with the bidet, and the way that this is how I think. I might be stealing some comics bit or whatever, but it's like the evolution of wiping your ass.
Yeah.
It's like toilet paper. You grow up doing that.
Yeah.
When I first started dating my chick is when she introduced me to baby wipes.
Oh, those are the shit.
They're the shit.
But the thing about that is, so I care about the environment. Like I'm one of those fucking people, and those are bad. So.
But isn't toilet paper just as bad?
I mean, I would think it's less.
Think so?
I don't know. Yeah, I would think so. Like I hate plastic. That's why I said most time when I go places and people offer me water, I don't because I'm wasting plastic.
Gotcha. Yeah, I kind of want to be one of those people. It's just hard for me.
No, it's not. It's easy. Everyone thinks it is, but you just gotta start small. Just start off by taking your own grocery bags. Leave them in your car. Then after a week, get your own coffee cup or something. Then after a week, that's how I started.
Yeah.
Now I do like toothpaste tablets. I like have.
Wait, what the hell is that?
They're tablets that you chew that turn into toothpaste.
And then you just brush with that.
Yeah, and then let's see. There's a minimalist market down on, is it Ferguson? On like Fremont. I think they do Don't Tell there sometimes.
I'm not sure.
But anyways, there's a minimalist market where you can take your glass bottles and they fill them up with soap and shampoo and things like that.
Interesting.
I try not to buy pens. I mean,
really?
I'll buy like I have wooden pens that I replace the ink. I have a razor that isn't plastic, so I just replace the blade. Yeah. My dad, he's really into it.
Okay.
My parents own a Tesla. In Tucson, I used to compost. The thing down in Tucson that I loved that it was in a dirt neighborhood, so it was like in the wild in the city, kind of. But I hated it because I was comfortable there. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to go anywhere because this is great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you stay there, you don't grow. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what I love about living with my grandpa is even though he had a great house, I didn't really like being there. So I always wanted to leave.
Yeah.
So
I think the most like environmentalist that I ever was when I was in Colorado. You know, like
Yeah.
I made a conscious effort to put what needed to be in the recycling in there, and do all of this shit. I had a chick, little hippie chick that I worked with, who wanted to collect things for her compost. So I would collect it, whatever
Yeah.
I was using
Yeah.
throughout the day, and give it to her.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit here and there, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm an asshole, but it's one of those things where it's like
I mean,
I could make small efforts here and there, like all the things you were talking about. Doesn't seem like a big deal if I were to switch to it.
yeah, but see, that's everyone's mentality. If you want me to like fucking get over you, that's everyone's mentality. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's just one straw, said 7 billion people.
yeah,
So now you got 7 billion straws.
yeah.
Another thing is people go, oh, it's recycle. No, don't recycle. The way you got to go is zero waste. And I know that's harder. I know people don't want to do it. That's why I don't tell people about it. But only like 7% of plastic is recyclable.
Mm.
That's what my brother-in-law has a company called Crowdsource, and it's water, but they're in aluminum cans. They're like in those Coors cans.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like everything's aluminum because 97%. Don't quote me on that, but I mean most of the time a lot of aluminum is recycled. So
Gotcha. And that's what I always think as well, is like, these certain things, like you said, don't worry about recycling, worry
right,
about, not having waste. It's
right,
like, well, most people, that's their way to go, because we were always told
right,
to recycle.
right.
But of course, it has some kind of negative,
Yeah,
consequence. And I think about that with the um, electric cars.
right.
It's like you have to understand that to produce these batteries,
No,
to
you're
keep
right.
them
Yeah.
going, like it's probably burning a lot more,
I get that, but you also don't use gas. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But like, what's
There's
the trade-off?
right.
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot. I don't research any of this stuff. I just go off of one analogy that I came up with. When you do a math problem, you want to get zero. You don't want a remainder. When
Hmm.
you throw out trash or recycle or do anything, that's the remainder part of it. If you don't throw anything out, and reuse it, then you got zero. And you're like, okay, well, I don't want a remainder. No one wants a remainder in a math problem.
Okay.
So that's kind of like, and I also like doing it because you have to think of things differently in a way, like how to.
All right. And
So
like, I mean, of course, like I've known you for a little while, and I
yeah.
never knew that,
Oh
you
yeah,
had
no,
these.
that's where my coffee bit came from, my coffee cup bit, and the bags,
The
because I hate it when
bags.
people use like fucking
That makes
12,
sense.
like they put 2 items in one bag. It's like, motherfucker, you have 2 hands.
Yeah.
Fucking you're just walking to your car. That's all you're doing. You don't need bags.
I mean, honestly, that's so fucking. It's honestly cool about you as a comedian, because I love that bit about the bags,
Yeah,
but it's also, it doesn't have that message of like
you
environmental
see,
and all of that, which is brilliant.
yeah,
Because like I can get on board with what you're saying, and it's like, yeah, why are you fucking wasting bags,
right,
packing fucking 2 items a bag, but it doesn't have that jam it in your face of like, you know,
yeah.
reduce, reuse, whatever.
Well, that's the thing. I felt like if I said, "Oh, this is why I don't like bags," it's because I'm an environmentalist. That's gonna turn people off. They're gonna be like,
Yeah,
I don't care anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I've also got the opposite where people are like, you should talk about how you don't like plastic, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't,
Yeah. It's
I
like I
don't
feel
know.
like the stage isn't the place.
Hey,
Like when I went to Texas, like I said, everybody was doing a bunch of political shit. But like one of the things I saw at least 3 comics do in the same night
yeah.
is go, Black Lives Matter and I'm an ally and this and that, and there was no joke attached to it. I'm like, this isn't the fucking place, man.
The same with like masks.
Yeah,
Look, everyone has their opinion. I don't care what it is.
yeah,
If you go on stage and you go fuck masks, I'm not gonna. I'm. It's like you not moving the mic stand.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if it's like a unique angle or what, I'm not gonna listen to you because
Yeah.
you just said you turned it into a political thing now.
Yeah. It's like, this isn't a town hall.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about your opinion. And this is
Right.
why, like I said, my favorite comic is Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
He does a lot of like social political commentary,
Right.
within his bits, and he
Right.
makes it brilliant. But I always feel like I don't think I can do that. Like, I don't think I can venture into that because of, one, what the climate is now. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody
Oh,
cares about what you have to say.
no one cares.
And it's also like, I'm a relatively young guy. Like,
Right.
I'm 26, 27, something like that. And I feel like nobody cares about my opinion on the world, So I'm just going to make a dick joke.
No one cares about anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, even if you're a politician, no one, even like in this day, people are just going to find their own opinion. Like, if you listen, look, I like Joe Rogan, but I know he's going through a lot of shit right now.
Yeah.
If you, like, I love Tom, but if he was like, hey, you should drink piss. Like, I just heard about this. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who said it. But if if Tom Segura was like, yeah, I drink I drink piss and I feel better, you should do it too. I'd be like, get the fuck, there's no way I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
I started thinking about the word influencer. I'm not maybe I am. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But I like to think I'm not influenced by anyone on the internet. I've never, or a comedian that I've seen in real life. I've never heard Dave Chappelle, as big as Dave is, be like, tell me something I don't agree with. Be like, you know what? I think he's got a point. I think I'm gonna start doing this now.
Yeah. Yeah, because it almost seems like weak-minded people are the people who are influenced by what somebody says.
Right.
Because even me, like, I could talk to you, and I feel like, we're friends.
Yeah.
We could talk, whatever. And if you tell me an opinion, like the whole environmentalist thing, I'm not just right away going to go, you're exactly right, Justin. Like, I have to just stop. I have to do everything. No. Like, I'm going to think about, like, okay, how do I feel about it? How does he feel about it? What makes sense to me?
My thing is, I just do it, and if people get influenced by it, they get it. Like, my girlfriend one time started recycling. One time, I would give my coworker, a little bit of shit when she would drink something from Starbucks. And she has a tumbler, but she wouldn't use it, and I would give her shit, and I started to feel bad. Because I know how it feels. Dude, I posted on a, no plastic group on Facebook. And this is when my, Proud Source, my brother-in-law's company, they had, in the beginning, they still had, a plastic ring. So when you twist on the cap, it had, a tight seal. And so I just took a picture, and I said, hey, here's an alternative bottle to water bottles, thinking people would be like, oh, cool, thanks for this and that. And then first comment, I'm waiting for someone to tell them about tap water. And I'm like, I get it. I get what people don't like about vegans. They shove shit in your face.
Yes.
Because, there was no positive comment. There were 12 comments, and they were all negative about, you don't know this, you don't know that, you should do this. There's still a plastic lining in the bottle and all this stuff.
So it's even people that agree with the sentiment are still like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I wanted to, be like, all right, I'm going to buy all this shit just because you guys pissed me off.
And I think, there are certain things when vegans say, I don't support the factory farming and stuff like that. I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. But when it starts to turn into a religion, where it's like, that's everything that they talk about.
Right.
And they talk about how a piece of shit everybody is for not following it. It's like, okay, the message that you have is good. Local farming, free range. That's awesome. And I try to buy meat that way. I've made that effort a little bit. It's a little more expensive, but I'll do it. But it's like, once somebody starts putting it down your throat of this is what you need to do, and you're a fucking terrible person, and this and that, I'm like, Okay.
you're just making them angry,
Yeah.
and then you're just giving them more of a reason
Yeah.
not to do it.
It's like that video. I think it went viral a couple years ago where this dude, there were people protesting his business. It was like you know, fucking steak house or some shit,
Yeah.
and a bunch of vegans outside protesting his shit. He went
Yeah.
up to the window and fucking cleaned up a deer right in front of the window and just cut it up and did all that shit. I was like, that's hilarious to
That's
me.
funny. I like that. I like that.
Because you know you're gonna piss them off. And like another one, you know, big vegan protest or whatever, and some dude set up a small charcoal grill,
Right.
just did a barbecue right
Right.
across the street from him.
Dude, a lot of people forget the fact that like the way you react to something is gonna impact the situation. You know, like with the protesting, I get everyone has all the right in the world to protest something.
Yeah.
But if you go up to like that business, then he's gonna be like, well, fuck these people. I'm gonna, cut a deer's eyeball out and I don't know, do whatever.
It's just finding a subtle way to try to change somebody's mind.
Right.
You know,
Lead by example. That's all you gotta do.
Also, yeah.
It may take a while,
mm-hmm.
But I mean that's the probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. But I also feel like it's a lot of it has to do with conversation.
Yeah.
Like if you could sit down and talk to somebody
right
with differing opinions, that's the best way. Like one that you could, get a perspective on the opposite side of the aisle.
Right.
But then also try to bring them to your side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like today is just, either you're with me or you're against me. There's no middle ground.
It's all about like relating. I think that's how I think about stuff is you just got to relate to people and you got to help them understand. One time when my friend that lived here, he moved down to Tucson and his mom was like, we should start taking down stuff or whatever. And she was like, you want to undo the dog door? And I think you take some, like, I know you have the hole for the dog door, but don't you have like things like that you drill into it or something? So she was like, you can undrill this and stuff like that. And so the dad was like, well, why don't you wait for a professional? Like, he went to his dad for help, and he was like, why don't you wait for a professional to do this and that? And he called me all pissed off. And I was like, yeah, but you have to understand what your dad is implying. He doesn't want you to fuck up, because if you fuck up, you're going to ruin the house, and so that's going to cost him money. And then so when I talked to him about that and helped him understand what his dad meant, he was like, all right, like I get what you're saying. I get why he's.
Yeah. I mean, but it's dependent on if that person is open to hearing the other side of it.
Yeah.
Because, I love my girlfriend. She's great. But a lot of the times, like, her dad is amazing.
Yeah.
I've met him a few times. Like, he's a great guy. And she'll have a conversation with him. And then I hear her on the phone just yelling at him and this and that, and they get off the phone. She comes up to me and she tells me the conversation. And it's all him just kind of playing devil's advocate, of whatever she's talking about. And he's like, well, if you look at it this way and this and that. And then she just blows up. And so I try to play devil's advocate to his devil's advocate. I'm like, you have to understand what he's doing.
Right.
And then she blows up on me. And I'm like, all right, like, you have to be open to these certain things or else you're just stuck in your own head all the time,
right. And that's how politics are right now.
Exactly.
I started thinking about like rallies and I don't even know what they were called before Trump rallies. Trump like made it a Trump rally, and now that's all I talk about.
Yeah.
A political convention, is that what they were called? But like all people are doing, I feel like, it's talking to their fans.
Yeah.
It's, if you go to a campaign, there you go. If you go to a campaign for Biden, he's just talking to his people. There's no use for that. They're already going to vote for him.
Exactly.
You know, you're not gonna convert anyone. You know, if you go to a Trump rally, you're gonna, you know, he's talking to people that only think like him.
Yeah.
If you go to a Hillary rally, you know, Bush, you know, whoever, Clinton. I
Yeah.
feel, well, actually, I think my uncle told me, and I think he's right about this, that fans or groupies or whatever you want to call them, you know, like hardcore fans started when Obama made that poster about change, the
Mm.
red blue poster,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
It does.
But
Yeah.
but before that, when you had Bush, Clinton, I think that, you know, people are still open minded to things.
Because even the people who supported them could tell you what was bad about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you like, you know, it like now it's like, oh, you know, like for example, Bernie right now. Not Bernie. Bernie? Who's
Bernie, old Jewish guy.
who's fucking who's, how do I not know this? Who's president right now?
And you're sitting here talking
Oh my
politics.
God.
Biden.
Biden. There, fuck, dude. God damn it.
Oh man, that's amazing.
But like, so like, sure, people voted for Biden,
Yeah.
but I guarantee you right now they're like, oh, we didn't want this.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't think it would go this way.
Yeah.
And he would do this.
And there is this whole thing that I've been hearing recently of what they're calling buyer's remorse. That they all voted for Biden thinking it was a certain thing, and then now he's kind of screwy or whatever, and there are a lot of people who regret it.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
I mean, I think that happens a lot. You vote for president because you think
Exactly.
they're going to do something, and then it's like, oh, gas is up.
Yeah.
And it's like, that fucking happens every year.
Yeah.
Get over it. Figure shit out. Buy a new car. I don't, get a fucking scooter.
Yeah. Ride a bike, you lazy fucks.
Ride a bike, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it's fucking wild. It's wild. I mean, it's even the whole thing that, like you said, what Rogan is going through.
Yeah.
Of course, I like Rogan.
Yeah.
I listen to him every now and then. I'm not going to him for my fucking COVID advice.
I mean, I brought this up to my boss. My boss, he like points out different angles and stuff like that. I don't know. We have the Holocaust on YouTube, or not? We don't have the Holocaust, but we have Holocaust survivors saying this and that. We have Nazi. We probably have Nazis saying, you know, things, and
yeah,
you know, then you look at it and you're like, oh, this guy's out of his fucking mind.
And it's the whole thing, like flat earthers.
Yeah, you have that too.
I love flat earthers, not because I agree with them. Because it infuriates me. And I just love being mad. Like, I'll sit outside, I'll chain smoke cigarettes, and just do a deep dive into whatever flat earthers are talking about.
Did you ever watch the Whitest Whites of West Virginia or something?
I didn't watch
Walter
it.
Whites? Something Whites, I think.
I never watched it. I know what you're talking about. But I've heard about it.
That's on fucking Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, and they
fucking
talk, and they probably,
people.
They probably give advice.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. Great, I'm not gonna fucking listen to you because you decided to fuck your cousin. Like, I'm not.
It's like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like nowadays people are so, and it might be this culture of like, you know, these people who have lived with their parents for so long, been supported by them, been told what to do by them, that now they feel like the government and, you know, media platforms have to baby them the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to grow the fuck up and realize that you need to make your own decisions. Think, you know, for yourself, and not think that just because Rogan is saying don't get the vaccine, that, oh my God, like now the pandemic is still going to go on. Who gives a shit? You know?
Who cares?
Who cares? I don't know. It's the wildest thing.
Like this whole thing, the pandemic, you know, we're still divided. Like, we should come together and all this stuff. And we're still divided. You know, there's this, I don't know how this became an article. I read something about how, you know, because the mask mandate got lifted, and this lady was like, I'm going through, you know, I don't have I'm going through cancer. I don't have money for chemo, and all this stuff. And now I'm worried to go outside because, I'm not asking to live 5 more years. I'm just asking to live like till June or May,
Mhm.
till my son or nephew graduates or something. And like, yeah, I'm sure, yeah, that's bad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Everyone, has shitty situations. But at the same time, it's like, why is that an article? It's one person out of 7 billion.
Yeah.
You know, like it's if you wanna live that long, then fuck it, don't go outside. I Instacarted for a long, like 7 months when the pandemic first started. I was home alone, like pizza people. I'd be like, hey, I left the money here. Leave the pizza here.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when this whole thing started, because I have asthma,
yeah,
it scared the shit out of me,
yeah,
and I was the same way. I was doing whatever I could, and things started opening up, like comedy shit started opening up, like what was it, like December or January of
of 2000 or
20,
oh
like
yeah, yeah, because
2021. It was like,
because I was gonna say I was here last year, so it wasn't last year
yeah,
when
yeah, it was
shit
like
started opening.
because like 2020 March,
Yeah,
everything shut down.
yeah,
But then it was like December of the same year, shit started to open up. January is when actual mics started coming back.
yeah,
I waited until March, and I could have gone right out and just said
right.
like fuck it. And so I waited for a little while because I was still nervous about it. And I started going out, and then in what was it, June or July, I got COVID. Like almost right away. I was like, shit.
How was it? Like,
The first time it wasn't crazy, like I had a little bit of a fever,
yeah,
um, but that was about it, but it wasn't the worst fever that I've ever had,
yeah. So
like
you got it twice,
I've gotten it twice.
and was the second time worse?
The second time was nothing. It
Oh
was
yeah. Well, are you vax and boosted or
nothing,
no?
nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I don't shit on anybody's, whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
go for it. For me, the only reason that I didn't get vaxxed or anything like that is because around the country and my job started to mandate it.
Oh yeah.
Now, politically, I feel like I'm very libertarian. It's like you shouldn't tell people what they should or shouldn't do.
I get that.
And so it was more on principle why I never did it. It wasn't just because, like, I'm not afraid of it. Like, I actually feel like it's great.
Yeah.
You should go get it if you're in these categories or
Right.
whatever, but it was on principle that I didn't go get it.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna talk big about like can't force me, you can't do this, that, if I went and got vaccinated and then my job mandated it and
Yeah.
I still had my job,
Yeah.
then I'm like, okay, now I'm just a part of, I fell in line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I haven't gotten it just on principle, but I've had it twice now. So it's like I feel like I'm all right. It's that whole thing.
Yeah.
But the first time it wasn't crazy. The weirdest symptom that I had was I would get chills and it would hurt my skin.
Really?
Yeah, it was bizarre. Like I've had chills before, but like when you get a fever, you get those weird chills. This actually hurt my skin
It's
and it
crazy.
lasted for a couple hours and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
When I got the second shot, I got chills,
Yeah.
but the booster didn't. I thought the booster would affect me, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, I always heard those stories that like the first one, like when it was the two shot,
Yeah.
whatever, the first one wasn't bad, but the second shot would put people on their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like my brother, he got it, and he said the second shot wasn't anything. Like he felt kind of weird for a day, and then he was fine.
Yeah. That was like me, kind of. Like I still, I was working from home. That's why I went to Tucson. Because we were working online, so I was like, well, if we're doing Zoom and shit, I'll just do it from Tucson. Um, and when I got the second shot, and like the second day, I think I was nauseated and stuff. I
Mhm.
still worked, but it was just sitting at a computer,
Yeah,
so it's not like it was doing much. And then that night I got the chills. Then the next day I was fine.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever do the Zoom comedy shows during the
Dude,
pandemic?
I did one. One person drove. Like they would drive while other people were talking,
Mm.
and then they'd be like, "All right, you're up," and they'd be like, "All right, I gotta park." It's like, dude, fucking.
What are you doing?
Also, the host didn't upgrade the Zoom, so it cut off at 45 minutes, which was 2 minutes into my set.
Oh, oh, that's
so,
fucked.
so I had to like send like everyone a link
Wow.
again because my work was like, hey, we don't have to do anything. We just have to turn on a computer. Like we
Yeah.
don't have to go anywhere. So they actually went. Um, yeah, it was but
People talked about it, and I saw it advertised. But even only doing it for 3 months, I was like, this is not gonna be cool. Like,
I wasn't a big fan of it.
yeah, because I mean, it's got to be weird because there's also that slight delay. So if you're doing a set, there's a slight delay of the laughter, so it's got to fuck you up timing wise.
Yeah, but also it's noisy. Like the other people's mics are noisy.
Yeah.
So she's like, "All right, I'm gonna mute people's mics,"
Oh,
and
and
it's
then you.
like then I can't fucking hear them laugh,
Oh,
which is the main point of comedy.
yeah. Like I would understand like a writing session with
Yeah,
other comics over Zoom,
yeah.
but trying to perform, it seems so fucking stupid.
Um, what I want to know is so the comics that started on Zoom. I would love to see. I would love to have seen them do their first live set.
Mm.
There was probably a lot of crying going on.
I didn't know that there was anybody who started on Zoom.
I think there were
Yeah,
because they were like, "Well, I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm gonna shut off the laptop."
yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
So
yeah. And I mean that goes to I know a couple comics who got their start at Wise Guys
yeah,
when it opened. And that's all they did for a couple months.
and then they went to
Yeah, and then they started to go around and realize like, oh shit, like
yeah.
there
That's
are
not.
places where they're not gonna kiss your ass.
Yeah, they do that in Phoenix. All the clubs do these bringer shows. You have to bring 10 people to go up, and basically anyone who brings 10 people goes up.
Yeah.
And then so they kill obviously in front of their friends and this room of possibly 300 people.
Yeah.
Then they go do an open mic and no one laughs. And I think one of my friends, Rob, was like, yeah, I've seen someone cry because, so.
That's hilarious. I would love to see somebody cry after their set. It would bring me so much joy because, like, I don't know, I'm kind of sadistic in that way where, like, when somebody's bombing, I feel it like empathetically because I know how it feels to bomb, but I also love it so
Yeah, I
much.
just laugh.
Yeah.
I go, this is hilarious because I know where all the punchlines are.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly when they're like, "Hey," and nothing happens.
Right.
Oh.
It's the best. Or like, and then like nothing is going on and there's silence and they'll just like clap and it's so funny to hear.
My favorite person to be around when somebody's bombing is Parker Ty. He has the most condescending laugh that
Oh,
he
dude,
does.
his laugh. There's a few of them in Phoenix too. There's this guy named Thomas. I love them, by the way. So it's not like I'm shitting on them.
Yeah.
Thomas and this guy named David Kays. He's kind of got a weird laugh. David Kays is a dark comic, but he's the fucking nicest guy.
Yeah.
I heard something about him. I was like, there's no fucking way. I called David up that day and was like, hey, I heard this. Is it true? He's like, no, not even close to true. They twisted it or whatever.
Yeah.
But one thing I heard a long time ago was like the darkest comics are the nicest people. Like Jim Jeffries,
Yeah.
Tom Segura, Bill Burr, Jesselnick.
Yeah.
These are, and I've always thought that ever since.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Mencia.
Oh yeah.
I've heard some people say Mencia's, like a nice person. And some comics like back him up. I'm like, how the fuck you can't back like
Yeah.
if you didn't grow up like I understand if you back him up now if you just started comedy and you
Mhm.
never heard that shit
Yeah.
or what or you don't know it. But if you know it, like that's a rule. If
Yeah.
if you steal or even if you steal, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's no
It's just laziness,
right.
you know. But it's also like I won't say the name. You'll probably know who I'm talking about. There's a guy who runs a show out here. All right, he's been out here for a long time, and everybody talks about how, he doesn't pay comics, he's very
Oh yeah.
shady, all of that shit.
Yeah.
I have wanted to do his show a couple times. I have been asked to do his show directly from him, and I just won't do it.
I got a Facebook message and he was like, "Hey, come check us out." Friday or whatever. And I know myself well enough that if I get in a situation, I won't speak up. So I just don't get in those situations.
Yeah.
Um,
See, for me, I'm afraid that I'll go overboard. Like, let's say I do a show he doesn't pay me.
yeah.
I'll fight a dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if I won't speak up. I'm becoming more like about that in Vegas and stuff. But I'll probably get into a situation that I don't want to be in.
Yeah. But for me, more than anything, it was just, again, it's one of those principle things. It's like, if you don't support comics out here, if you're not going to pay them,
right.
I'm all about comics.
It's so weird because here it's like, yeah, dude, you gotta pay your comics, but in Phoenix it was like no one expected. But then again, like no one really features at
yeah, but
local places.
I feel like
there.
it's different though. Like, I got a guest spot at 18 Bin.
Yeah.
A while back, and I didn't ask for payment. He didn't talk about payment.
Yeah.
So I just went up and I did my spot, and I was glad to be on the show.
Was this with Amir or
Jordan? Jordan is the one who
so
reached
Amir
out.
Andrew, because I think Amir runs it, but Jordan hosts it.
Okay.
They're great. They're good guys.
No, they're great.
I think they're great guys. They if they ask someone to do something, they're gonna be like, yeah, no, we've been where you're at.
Yeah.
So you get you deserve to get paid.
Yeah, I mean, but the whole thing about it is like payment was never discussed.
Right.
So I never expected it.
Yeah.
But if like it's on the flip side, it's like if we discuss payment and then I do your show and then you don't pay me,
right?
Which I've heard that's what happens with this other guy. It's like that's when there's a big problem, you know, because you're saying that I'm good enough to come out here and get paid,
right?
And then you're gonna stiff me on the end, you know?
Right. Well, that was one thing that our generation. Were you 28, 27?
27.
27. Well, at least my generation, we were growing up on don't talk about payment. So it's hard for me to be like, hey, does this pay? Same with asking for guest spots.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to do that because I don't want to be the squeaky wheel, even though the squeaky wheel gets fucking cleaned. I know that bullshit.
Yep. I am the same way though.
Yeah.
I feel so awkward asking somebody for a spot.
One phrase I just came up with last night actually. So there's this author, Tim Grover, and he was an athletic trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, like all these big people, D Wade. And when he started, he was just a kid. And he went to the Bulls locker room. He wrote a letter asking if he could be the athletic trainer to every player on the Bulls except for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the only person that responded because he saw that letter in someone else's locker and was like, hey, and he gave it to someone and was like, see what this kid's about. And so then he gave him 30 days and that 30 days turned into 15 years. And so that's my new analogy, to be like a go-getter or to be a squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
Be as aggressive as Michael Jordan was. So
yeah. I mean, it is awkward though, because it's like Fitzy's show. At the Artifice.
Yeah.
It's like I've asked him a couple times, and he told me yeah, we'll see. And I feel weird still pressuring him. Because it's like, It's like, in my head, it's like, either you actually want me to be there or you don't.
Think about it this way. So Bert Kreischer, when he started at a club. I think he just started going. He didn't work there or anything. He just went. And then he asked the owner, and the owner was like, no.
Mm.
So Bert called his dad and was like, I don't know what to do. The owner told me no. And his dad was like, just go next time and act like nothing happened. And so every time, he
Just
would
keep
act
going.
like nothing happened. And then fucking look at him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the biggest party dudes in America. Dude, that guy fucking drinks and is in the worst shape. Did you see him play tennis against Tom
Yeah,
Segura? Fuck,
fucking
dude.
murdered him.
Oh
It's
my
wild.
god.
And I feel like that's where all of his confidence comes from, is because
Yeah.
he's weirdly good at shit.
And he's like, I'm bad at sex. It's like, wow, you do shit like an athlete,
Yeah.
but yet you're bad at, I mean, your gut's in the way, but it's
Yeah. You know what was funny? When I first met my girlfriend, I was relatively sober.
yeah.
I didn't drink as heavy. I didn't smoke a whole lot. Like,
Did you meet before you did that or after? Like
but
before you were an alcoholic or addicted or whatever.
it was in the period where it was like right after I was like really bad,
Yeah.
because in my teens and early 20s, like I said, I was addicted to pills and
Yeah.
alcohol and weed and all of this shit.
Yeah.
When I met her, I was definitely off pills for a couple years, and I was just smoking weed, but not too heavy, and I
Yeah.
wasn't drinking that much. It's just recently that I've been drinking more because of stand
Okay.
up. Like, I'm
Yeah.
always at a bar, but I don't smoke weed anymore. So it was this weird, like, relatively sober period when I first met her.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, when we would have sex, like, I would come really quickly. And it was blowing my mind because she was also celibate for like 3 years before I met her. So I was like, okay, it's like this combination of, like, you know, she's in a good
Her
spot.
pussy was just like, give it to me. Just give it to me.
So it was this weird spot I was in, and I kept thinking about, like, why? Like, I used to fuck like an animal when I
Yeah.
was younger. And then a couple times, like, I would get really drunk, and her and I would have sex. And then it's like hours. I'm
Yeah.
like, it was the fucking alcohol and the pills, because the pills numb you. So it's like you're hardly sensitive.
Yeah.
Like, I have that bit about eating pussy on morphine.
Yeah.
It's like, the reason I have that story is because when I was on morphine and I would try to have sex, like, I wouldn't stay hard because you would just start to go numb.
Right.
And then, so after all of that, like, now I'm hypersensitive. And so trying to have sex and trying to have good sex,
it's
an ordeal, And I was just realizing that it was the alcohol, the drugs, and all of that made me a fucking animal in bed. And now it's like I'm a virgin again,
Yeah.
where I'm 2 pumps and I'm done. It's fucking ridiculous. And that's why I resorted to a lot of foreplay. Like, I'm the fucking king of foreplay at this point because I'm trying to get my mojo back.
How long have you guys been together?
Like 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah, it was 3 years, January 1st.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Seems like it was a good New Year's gift, I guess.
Yeah.
You got together on January 1st.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We have kind of like 2 anniversaries. It's
Oh.
like the one where we actually met, which was like December 1st,
Yeah.
and the first time we ever hooked up.
Which was like New Year's, like, hey,
Exactly.
let's I want to be the dick, like your New Year's dick.
Pretty
You
much.
know?
And I was living in California at the time with one of my buddies. He had a chick over, I had her over. We're kind of bringing in the new year. And it was the whole, like, New Year's kiss.
Yeah.
And her and I almost fucked on the couch, like, in front of them because it was like this pent up, sexual tension.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then he kissed his chick and then looked over, and then I could hear him whisper, like, they haven't had sex yet, and then we're still making out on the couch. It was ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
It's that whole thing. All right, man. We've been going for fucking almost 2 hours
Dude,
now.
this has been a fun podcast.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, this has been a lot of, Joe Rogan, he said he did he does like 3 hours because after the first hour, that's when you start really getting into shit. And I kind of believe that. But I want to ask, what's with the Nintendo?
All right. This is the game system I had when I was growing up.
You please tell me you have Aladdin and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I don't.
Oh, what the fuck,
But I'm
dude?
gonna get them. That's the thing. They're on my list because I love those.
They should have been number 1 and 2 on your list.
Nah, number 1 and 2 was Super Mario World, of course, and then Zelda: Link to the Past.
Okay, I'll give those to you.
Those are
like what are they, like legends?
Yeah, those are the old school. And then I have like like Donkey Kong Country, fucking Killer Instinct, Earthworm Jim. I have a bunch of fucking games.
The only ones I played were those two and Mario Kart.
Kart.
I don't think I've ever played any other in NES games.
Yeah.
I think it was just those 3.
But I have this here actually in the studio because I started streaming on Twitch.
Oh yeah?
And I play those fucking games on Twitch. And it was a process because I had to get an adapter for it to hook up to my monitor and then a little fucking like capture card that allows me to stream. It's like a whole fucking setup that I have.
Dude, technology is it's so complex. Or it's so simple, it's complex.
Exactly.
Either that or we're just so fucking old that we which seems like a weird thing to say.
Yeah. And I mean my buddy, he's like I said, I moved out here with him. He streams on Twitch, but it's these fucking PC games that, I don't even know the names of them anymore. Like the video games have gone so far past me that I just have no idea, and I just revert back to the fucking Super Nintendo.
When I went to, you weren't there at Ocha, but so I want to turn this into a bit because I think this is really funny. I went to ITC Tech, and I got a video game degree, and I think that's right. I think that's a hilarious idea. That's like saying you went to DeVry University, But once I went there, I lost interest in video games.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I have a GameCube.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I have a GameCube, a Switch, and computer.
Dude,
so.
Hell yeah. GameCube was the shit, man.
Yeah.
Like and it's weird because as I've gotten more back into playing the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Started watching shit on YouTube, and one of the things was like a whole breakdown of like the history of GameCube and how it kind of flopped when it first came out.
Dude, I think it's one of the best game systems.
But then that's how people feel now. Like it kind of shit the bed when it first came out, but like now looking back on it and people who owned one, it's the best system that ever came out.
Yeah, for sure. That's the best Super Smash was for.
Exactly. What was it, like Melee?
Yeah, Melee.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I remember my cousin had a GameCube. One of my favorite games was called Gun. It was this old Western style. It was like Red Dead Redemption back in the day, And that was my favorite fucking game, but I only ever remember it on that system,
It's funny. I sucked at Smash for N64, but then once I got the GameCube, something happened and I became really good. I don't know what it was.
Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever plugged my Twitch channel on this podcast yet because I don't have a set schedule.
No.
But it's Fat Tony Retro. If you ever want to come see me fucking play video games whenever it happens.
Fat Tony. Why Fat Tony?
Because when I worked in Colorado, there was a dude that I worked with because I was like I said, 120 pounds.
Oh, okay. So basically it's just your name.
Yeah, it was ironic in a way. And he would just call me Fat Tony. He was like, hey, Fat Tony, whatever,
Okay.
So that's what it is. We'll wrap this bitch up. Do you have anything, social media, anything to plug?
Yeah, well, Justin Tietjen all around.
Okay.
I got a website, Justin Tietjen. I never plug it, but I've been trying to be better at that. I do have, let's see, I have 2 shows in March. I think I'm at the, uh, um, okay, here we go. I'm at the Artifice on the 22nd, and I thought there was another one in March. The Artifice, 18 Bin, I think, was in March.
Okay.
I gotta ask, I gotta ask Amir, because I thought that was in March too. So yeah, I'll have to. Oh no, no. What's the date? The 22nd of this month. That's when I'm at
Okay.
18 Bin.
So in 10 days.
In 10 days?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's the 12th. Yeah. So the 18 bin on the 22nd,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then March I got the Artifice, and then after that I got nothing.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll be at places. I just don't have any schedules right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, go follow Justin Tietjen on all social media.
All social media.
All social media.
Yep.
Go there, check him out. He's fucking hilarious. Follow him, support him. Follow me on Instagram, _Hernandez_comedy. But you already knew that. And stay tuned until next week. I'm not sure who I have on.
Yeah.
I have a whole schedule written out and I don't remember. But yeah, stay tuned for that. You know I love you, cocksuckers. And we'll see you next time.